Cool. Can everybody see this? Sweet. Okay, welcome to August 28th. We are nearing the end of summer. So next week, I think the next time we have one of these forums, it will be Labor Day. Is that right? Anyway, something like that. So crazy, time is flying. I'm grateful for a trip I just got to take out to Montana this past weekend. My family, I think I mentioned this on a few prior calls, but my family is considering migrating west, and my time spent out there was really awesome. It's a beautiful place, and it was a nice decompression over that past weekend, and also it was nice to just travel. Getting on an airplane and flying was kind of like a foreign experience, and I actually really enjoyed it despite all the additional COVID requirements. It's like the best time to fly ever. There are two people in security. You get a whole row to yourself no matter what. So highly recommend it. It's also very affordable. Okay. With that, so recent achievements slide. Need to get this thing out of my way. There we go. Okay. So waitlist is over 28,000, continuing to climb. We're having just a huge amount of organic traction with incredible partner opportunities and ally opportunities. And this week I wanted to highlight a few of those in particular. I'm jumping around on the bullet points here, but there's this connection pathway that's really fascinating where Ashton Kutcher is using our product right now. He's basically telling people in his network who he really respects. Yesterday, Tom and I had a call with Dr. David Agus and his team at USC, the Larry Ellison Institute of Medicine there. David Agus he is a professor of engineering and medicine at USC. He was Steve Jobs' doctor. He's basically treated all of the people that you know and have heard about in tech and the political world, even very well connected, and absolutely loves what we're doing. So we had a really nice long discussion. There's a retreat system called Sensei that is a tech forward, like wellness driven retreat company that Larry is financing, and Dr. David Agus is the head of medicine there. They'd love to incorporate levels, but also they want to support the initiative of bringing insulin resistance specifically into the daily conversation and helping people understand how to tackle that. And they think that what we're doing by putting real-time information in about glucose levels in people's hands is fantastic. So their team is very excited about what we're doing. And that was a really awesome, invigorating call yesterday. So good to have allies like those. Starting back from the top, Ali Spagnola, who we all probably are familiar with by now. If you haven't watched her videos, please go and do so. She reached out to us, used the product, made a series of videos for her channels that have turned into our de facto customer enthusiasm go-tos. So it's like the most amazing sort of organic proof of what we're doing here. And so because she's super creative and is great with content, we've decided to put together a contract with her, and she's proceeding with developing video content for us. And I think we have 30 minutes of produced content per month from Ali. So with that, going forward, she's going to produce some really awesome low-hanging fruit type stuff that we need, app walkthroughs, getting started. If there are any concepts that you'd like to see as a user of levels, or that from people in your network who have used levels or see levels, let us know, because we need to build up basically a backlog of content for Ali to just crank out. And this is going to be sort of levels brand voice, not Ali, Fitness Outrageous brand voice, which is her current channel. So she'll be doing the same degree of quality, but just with a slightly different, perspective. So this is really exciting. Ben Bickman, we talked about this last week, but he's a PhD researcher at BYU. Insulin and metabolism is his focus. Again, if you haven't read Why We Get Sick, please do that and get a feel for Ben. He's joining our research team. I think the contract is likely signed right now. I executed it just before this call. And so he's joining our research team, and this is going to be a fantastic additional resource for us to start to transition the conversation, not just from local optimization of glucose, but to the holistic metabolic health perspective. Insulin resistance is what we're actually combating here. And so glucose is a really strong marker to understand your insulin environment. And I think in the future, we'll be able to approximate insulin really well using background algorithms that are calibrated with insulin tests, which goes to another point I have down here. which is we're nearing an agreement with Beluga Health, which is a professional corporation of physicians set up by one of our partner physicians, Dr. Jonah Mink. And we're working towards a pilot program to add additional analytes. So the specific one we're talking about is fasting insulin. We'll start off with a small sort of set of probably internal levels employees, and then basically get that data, use it to sort of calibrate or start to understand how fasting insulin and glucose levels or CGM communicate or are related. And with time, we'll hopefully build out a really strong partnership where we can add additional analytes, not just internally, but as packages that our customers can access. So I'm very excited about this. And of course, our research team will be able to contribute to that effort. Shout out to Junlu and others who have been helping us with the retool systems, just making them more user-friendly. I mean, I this week benefited from the retool system no longer searching on every character that you type into the search box. So thank you to everyone who's this is just an example of taking initiative, seeing something that's broken and just fixing it. So I just wanted to specifically thank Junlu for fixing a few small things that have actually really benefited the customer success team on the back end. And then the whole Eng team has been pushing some awesome updates. So we have offline mode and compare multiple zones, both released internally. These were heavy lifts. Everybody on Eng, I think, contributed here pretty significantly. And David, thank you for coordinating all of that. Gabriel for tackling multiple zones in particular and making it really beautiful and user-friendly. So combine this with persist data, which is basically going to allow us to go further than 2 months back. And we're going to be able to start to really draw some amazing insights out and present them in a way that is easily consumed by the end user. Okay, moving over to the visual stuff. A lot of great shout outs. You see a lot of big blue chip fund names out here. We're still communicating and having great conversations on the finance side. This week in particular, we spoke with Joe Holder from Ocho System, who is also GQ's fitness coordinator. He writes all the GQ fitness articles. Carly Kloss's team from Tofino. We had a great conversation there. Those of you that don't know Carly Kloss, she's a supermodel, but also first and foremost, she's a killer businesswoman and very well respected behind the scenes in investment. I recorded a show with True Ventures, which is Kevin Rose's VC fund, and he sprang on me at the end that he's actually going to post it to the Kevin Rose show, which has a much larger audience and reach. So that's pretty cool and unexpected. I don't know the schedule for when that'll drop, but I can't complain. And then talking today with Rob Wolf from Wired to Eat. Rob specifically has affected my life. This is the first book I read that brought up CGM for a wellness use case. And I just want to shout him out if he ever sees this episode. Excited to chat with you in an hour. And more importantly, thanks for writing that book because it really kicked things off for me in a meaningful way. And then had another reconnection with CrossFit Health. I've been pretty well connected with them for a while. Their new ownership has come in. So Eric is taking over and really changing things up and bringing digital health into the conversation with CrossFit. And so had a great conversation with them. They're going to be testing our product, and I'm optimistic that we'll be able to use the affiliate network to really reach out and get to the CrossFit audience in a meaningful way. And then a ton of people, I just want to highlight this, specifically Andrew has set a really great precedent for how we hire and how we post job descriptions. And we got a ton of attention this week from people who were or were not potential candidates, but who saw our job postings and took note and said, this is really an amazing precedent that you're setting. And like the degree of transparency and the quality of information you're posting speaks volumes about who you are as a company. So that was really awesome. And we're benefiting from that. The candidates are coming in with a pre-existing understanding of what we do at Levels and how our culture operates as a result of something as simple as a job description. So just a really nice precedent there. So any questions on all this? Cool. And again, as always, if I missed something, I apologize. Oh, one other thing, we did talk with Valencell. They're like one of the leading sensor suppliers for non-invasive sensors. This is like heart rate variability, and they're extremely enthusiastic. They're looking at us as doing something that was previously impossible in terms of taking on this market so quickly and with so much enthusiasm. They've been eyeing the CGM space for a long time, and they have some interest in potential sensor applications. So there are very big players who are taking notice of what we're doing here and are very impressed by the quality of execution. Okay, milestones to track. This is going to be a high level one. We've got pre-orders out already, getting launch ready. The feature set continues to improve week after week. And then securing that next gen hardware partnership, we have multiple opportunities for the long-term supply chain of the hardware that fuels the platform we're building on top of it. And so we'll continue to be focused there. And yeah, let's get this thing launched. Weekly beta trends. So since last week, we've had 68 orders placed and 48 orders shipped. We're still a bit ahead of our expectations in terms of volume. So we're just trying to kind of manage the amount of demand we have from places like the Natural State podcast last week that got us more than a month's worth of orders in 2 days. So, just controlling the growth rate of our beta and making sure that we're still giving an exceptional experience to everyone is something that we're, just staying above water right now, and it's a good problem to have. Sam, financial.
Yeah, so still have 2.6 million in cash. Still gives us at least a year of runway, even if we raise no additional capital. We're on track to hit our August and September growth goals already. October is already halfway there. So doing well on that side. Next slide. We still have some people that need to convert this week that are already queued up. So we'll hit our revenue goal. This is what the numbers look like. Next. You can see the big bump from the podcast last week, and this week we're at about 15,000 in cash generated.
All right. For context, in May and June, 15,000 was our monthly goal. So we accelerated quickly.
Yeah.
All right. Any questions on financial stuff? All right. Quick recruiting update. We've got 3 major positions open right now: head of marketing, head of operations, head of content. We have 4 serious candidates in consideration for growth, about 5 in operations. There are honestly quite a few more that are really exceptional, but I think we're going to be moving into the next round with 5 candidates for operations. And then head of content, we have 6 applicants and a ton of leads from our network. We did a lot of outreach last week. And there's some exceptional talent out there. It's right now finding someone who is specific to content, finding someone who is a combination of scientifically qualified and an exceptional editor and writer. And so we really need that person who brings probably a medical background, in combination with the ability to formulate a strong publication strategy for bringing metabolic information to the mainstream. And so we're basically looking to replicate someone like Casey Means, which is a high bar, unfortunately or fortunately, and there are not many of them out there. So as a result, because Casey went above and beyond and brought all of that, plus this SEO digital marketing wizardry, we're not even going to be able to replicate that. So we've decided to sort of separate out the SEO and digital marketing requirement and make that a separate role. So that's kind of how things are trending right now. We've got a lot of exceptional candidates across the board, and I've been putting a lot of time in here, and we'll be introducing the sort of down selected candidates to more of the team as we proceed.
Yeah, it's funny. We had a call with the content team at Andreessen, and we showed them the job description, and they said, yeah, there are no people that can, do scientific writing and editing and SEO. Like, that's a unicorn. Said, well, I mean, that is what Casey's doing currently. So
exactly.
Guys.
Yeah. So any questions on hiring stuff? Cool. And customer engagement. I keep forgetting to update this one. Sam, is this one on me?
I think we need to get Mercy on the slide to just put some of the tweets on there. I think that'll be the most consistent way to get it out there.
Yeah. Imagine
but a lot of good tweets.
Really inspiring tweets here.
Yeah.
They do exist. They're just not on this sheet right now. Okay. Podcast updates. This is Casey. Thank you for taking this one.
This is Tom, actually. Tom is jumping in.
Ooh, yeah, Tom. Thank you.
So some good action this week. We had 3 shows that were released and 3 shows that were recorded. Just a couple to call out. So Superhuman Academy is a real solid show. Jonathan, the host, chatted with Josh, and then he's actually going to be doing an in-depth YouTube review coming up over the next couple of weeks. He produces really high content, so that's going to be exciting. he will also be an affiliate for us. The Deli podcast. So Matt Dellavedova, he's an NBA player. So that's just cool for obvious reasons. Recommend listening to that one. And then, Kevin Rose. So Josh already mentioned Kevin, but Kevin is a big deal. He's kind of a famous Silicon Valley entrepreneur, investor type. He's also famously best friends with Tim Ferriss. And he is very selective about who goes on his show. Some of the recent names on his show are, again, Tim Ferriss was the most recent episode. Rhonda Patrick, Peter Tia, Sam Harris, a lot of names that you know. So that's one to keep an eye out for.
And Josh Clemente.
And Josh's his name is going to be right next to Tim Ferriss' name. That guy from SpaceX. Next slide. All right. So to date, we've had 50 shows secured. So that means 50 shows either scheduled, recorded, or released. And just to take a look at like where these shows are coming from, the vast majority, about 70%, are coming from our network, either shows and hosts that we already knew or those who we've gotten introductions to from our network. So number one, this is great. This is really good. Again, just a call to action to anyone on this team. Never forget to ask anyone you know at the end of a call, a friend, really whoever, new team members joining, if anyone knows any podcasts. This has been by far our best source of leads. And just even though we've talked to a lot of podcasts, there are many more to talk to. So continue to ask your network. But number two, the other point here is that starting really next week, 2 agencies are going to be ramping up and hitting the pavement in terms of outreach to shows. So that's Lemon Pie, which is a podcast sourcing agency, and then another small PR firm that is helping us out for free. So we really should expect over the next 2 to 4 weeks that orange slice in this pie grows if they are effective. So this is another experiment that we want to just keep an eye on. Next slide. All right, so quick update on affiliates. Things are humming along. This week, we onboarded onto the software that we are using. I guess just to define affiliates quickly. So these are individuals or brands who are going to be promoting Level's product. And then if a conversion occurs that can be attributed to them and their platform and audience, then they get a commission. So a lot of overlap between the podcast world and influencer world. But yeah, we onboarded to the software. Nick and I are building out materials to just empower these folks to effectively promote Levels. And then we also have 10 that are confirmed, kind of locked and loaded. Some have already started promoting. So we're in really good shape. One to call out here, Bulletproof. I've had a couple of conversations with them recently. I have another call this afternoon. We are verbally confirmed for a number of different activations with Bulletproof. So a blog post in October or November that will come from Dave. We'll actually write it. Dave will be the author. And then a couple of podcast ads and then an interview with Josh or Casey in January. So a lot of exciting stuff on this front. All right, next slide. Last one from me, just another fun thing that's materializing is exploring what we're calling CPG brand partnerships. So that's consumer packaged goods, healthy food companies who may want to use our technology really to validate and to prove that their products are in fact healthy and have the glycemic profile that they claim to have, especially relative to maybe some less healthy competitors. So that screenshot right there is me doing a number of different tests. So I was comparing Annie's to Bonza. Some friends of mine founded Bonza and are on that team. Bonza is a chickpea pasta company, and I sent this over to their team, and they were really excited about, again, just kind of this proof that their product is better than competitors. So the vision long-term here is that we might actually see some type of a Levels certification that brands will be after to prove that their products are low glycemic. But in the meantime, what we're going to be doing is working in sort of a low weight kind of marketing capacity with some of these brands where we will equip some of their top influencers and content creators and affiliates with Levels technology to then go out and kind of run these experiments on their own and post them to their channels. And then we can kind of re-amplify that content. So we're excited about this. We're chatting with Perfect Keto, Bonza, Kettle and Fire, and soon to be Magic Spoon. That's
nice.
it.
Yeah, mentioned this to Dom D'Agostino yesterday on our update call. He's been doing kind of an example of this recently on his Instagram. So you can check out the way that he's testing 2 types of foods head to head. Some of them will be low glycemic and others high glycemic, and just demonstrating that there are alternatives. And it's really resonating. He said it's been a fantastic initiative for his audience. So I think there's a really big opportunity here to drive data into advertising and reinforce quality products with evidence. Any questions on all of Tom's update there?
I hate to admit it, but Coconut Cult, which is a low sugar coconut ice cream company, just shipped me a huge package of their new keto ice cream to try with CGM. So that's another one that might be interested in doing some sort of partnership, but I'm feeling a little guilty that I'm getting this package in the mail. So
Don't feel guilty. There'll be a lot more like that.
Actually, Josh, can you do one more refresh for me?
Okay.
Awesome. So just content, research, advisory team, press update stuff. So check out the blog. We've got 2 pretty thought leadership pieces that are up this week, our Levels Theory of Behavior Change and the Secret Levels Master Plan. Shout out to Molly Maloof and SD Shabelman, 2 of our medical advisors, for doing a really thorough review of our behavior change article. I think this is going to be an awesome one for us to share. Also, shout outs to Sonal and the editorial team at Andreessen Horowitz and Derek Flansreich from Greatest, who have given us just really incredible advice and advising on this role that we're hiring for head of content to really keep our blog moving and spread our content across all our digital channels effectively. So it's just been, as has already been mentioned in this call, amazing how our network has just stepped up so much to help us as we grow our team. So thank you so much, and check out these blog posts. Next slide. Yeah, so in terms of sort of research and advisory front, so this week we had our kickoff research meeting with Dr. Dom D'Agostino, who's, as you know, officially signed on as an advisor. We had a really great meeting and talked through a lot of the clinical research opportunities that we might be able to collaborate with him on. So there's some really exciting stuff. Thank you so much, Dan, for just jumping right in, leading that meeting and representing the team so well. We also, as Josh mentioned, Dr. Ben Bickman, who we've been in conversations with now for months, has officially agreed to join our advisory board and pursue sponsored research with us. So he has a thriving lab, and that will be an incredible move forward for us with research as well. Sort of a similar advising relationship to Dom with sponsored research involved. We are having continued conversations with the CUSP about a clinical research trial in menopausal women. They're a company that does a digital platform for menopausal care, and that's a group that's extremely at risk for metabolic dysfunction. Women tend to become more metabolically dysfunctional right after menopause as estrogen drops, so it's a very interesting population. And then we also were connected with Dr. David Perlmutter this week, who's someone who is on our target list for someone we would love to be a medical advisor, a functional neurologist and really incredible holistic view, wrote a book this year called Brainwash, which has a lot about how glucose impacts cognitive function and cognitive performance and longevity. And so some really nice alignment there, and it would really be a wonderful addition to helping us with our overall message about how glucose impacts the brain and both current and future brain health. Next slide. Yeah, lots of fun, exciting things on the press and media front this week. I presented yesterday at Connect Health Tech, which was a sort of press event with Fast Company and a number of other outlets. Crunchbase presented a pitch about our company and connected with quite a few of the journalists on LinkedIn after that, which was great. We were shouted out. Our Ultimate Guide to Metabolic Fitness was listed in the Signals newsletter this week. And we also had some really great user-generated content. Gabe Mendoza wrote an awesome blog post for his Mendoza program blog about the Levels program and about CGM. We were also shouted out by Mateo from 8 Sleep. Thank you so much, Mateo. If you're watching this, in the Proof Wellness, his interview for them. And we had a great article from TruePill about our work with them called The Future of Metabolic Health is Here. So our backlink game is strong, and we are just, that's really important for our overall SEO rankings, and just really cool to see people writing about us and wanting to coordinate with us mention. So it's great. Next week, I'm going to be presenting at the Founder Institute for the Future of Women's Health and talking about how CGM can really uniquely impact women's health. So that's it for me. Any questions? Awesome.
Nice. Thank you. Okay, Mike.
Yeah, so excitement, a couple things. Excitement and engagement, interest in the product continues to remain like super high. We continue to get a lot of like long form emails inbound requesting access, which is awesome. And then the other thing, as you've probably seen with my weekly write-ups, feedback is starting to become more repetitive. And the great thing is that I know we're either close to shipping or it's on our roadmap to ship updates and features to help with this feedback. And the one thing I want to call out is the social aspect. As you can see, it says, I'd love to do this with my friends in like a group. And this made me go to our Facebook group and just to check the engagement. And I realized my notifications weren't on, so I updated that. But if you look, the conversations continue to be extremely interesting. And it's not just the posts, but I'm not sure like if that image is large enough, but the comments and conversations are extremely interesting. These things, even I'd say like 2 months ago, it would have required like a levels teammate like David, or myself, or Josh, Sam, Casey to jump in. All of these conversations are strictly between users. And, we definitely have people to thank, like our super users, like, you can think of like Ryan and Francesco and like all of our early supporters, but it's really awesome to see this come together. And it just made me think about like how I approach like my other wearables. And, I am in a group with a few of our team members for Whoop, and David and I follow each other on Apple Watch. So I know this is on our roadmap, but I definitely just wanted to call this out. And as always, I like to drop a quote in here, more awesome feedback on our blog posts and Twitter presence. And yeah, that's all I have.
Nice. Yeah, I love the early community coming together. It's something we got to double down on for sure. Any questions on customer roundup? Okay, David.
Awesome. Yeah. So another great week for progress on the software engineering side. So the big features that we launched this week, I pushed to Apple, so this should be out later today. Our next version of the comparison feature, as Josh mentioned, so now you can compare up to 5 things at once, which is really surprisingly helpful to do your own experiments and figuring out like what is what. So go ahead and play with that. That was a much requested feature. Nice job, Gabriel, on getting that out. And then we brought back the offline support. So if you're in a limited network connection or out camping and no service, you can still add your logs with levels. One thing you're seeing on the right side is the in-progress work on the activity feed. So the education and program.
Someone's notifications are on. Sorry, David.
You hear that now?
Could someone mute themselves?
No, that's me. Sorry, let me see if I can quit Slack.
Oh.
People who are wondering, that's all of the our automated system that Andrew built, shipping all of our orders to TruePill. So for every one of those days.
We like that sound.
Yeah.
Sorry, maybe we should have left that on. That's the sound. That should be a cha-ching noise. We need to fix that.
Yeah, so I'm just really excited about the activity feed work, the insight stuff that's finally going to come live. If you've been watching this for the last several weeks, which we all have, or playing along with our followers at home, you've seen some of the wireframes to the education cards and program cards, and now it's finally in the app. Not 100% polished yet, but it's looking like it'll be days, not weeks, in terms of a launch for that. So it's really exciting. And then the next thing after we ship that, we're going to be shipping event detection type things. So moving on to better closing the loop. And so Evan's been doing some thought on how to put some constraints around what is the dawn effect for that. We're going to be building out a better, in progress, How and Jeremy are building out ways to kind of deepen our app and make it a more friction-free experience by giving access to all your historic zones, not just the 2 months that Josh referenced in the past, or knowing exactly where you are in the program. And if you pause, so we can send a Slack message to Mike saying, hey, looks like Casey just paused. She might have lost a sensor. Let's ship her a new one, things like that. And another long-standing thing we're getting more and more of, as our customer base has grown and we have a longer wait list, people who are waiting for their package to ship, it's becoming more important for timely email updates. So Andrew's been doing a lot of work on getting our standby comms out the door, which I believe is very close. So yeah, more on this next week, but go try out the compares for now and enjoy.
Uh-oh, let me get rid of this. Okay. Thank you, David. Any questions on product and engineering stuff this week? It's a pretty killer work going on here, and I think everyone can kind of see the structure for the future coming together with all of these background improvements that are ultimately going to surface as I think a paradigm shift in the quality of the insights we can provide in real time. Thanks everybody for a great week. We're on to the individual contribution section. Let's keep these moving. I did not update this slide. I need to do that. We'll kick off with Casey. Go ahead and give us your update.
Let's see. Let's see. So personal stuff, last weekend, my parents were in town. We went camping. It was really amazing and super good to see them just during all this COVID stuff. And we had a very wonderful socially distant camping trip. So that was awesome. This weekend, I was going to climb a mountain in Central Oregon called South Sister, and I realized, white flag, I need to not go camping this weekend, so I'm gonna just like have a totally chill, not camping or sleeping in a tent weekend and get lots of good sleep and read and catch up on some stuff. So I'm excited about actually canceling this plan. From a professional side, I mean, everything is so exciting. Their advisory board growing is really wonderful. And just learning more about this hiring process for content and digital marketing. Each call I've been having with sort of our network about how to shape this role has been so educational. And I've just become such a massive advocate of marketing since joining Levels, because it's really, it is the way to get your voice, the content that you're creating, the message you're trying to promote, it's the way to get it seen and out there. So it really actually is such an important part of our mission to spread metabolic awareness to all. And so to hear such high level strategy from such experts in marketing and content and, sort of digital stuff, it's really exciting. And I feel like it's really high level tutoring and I love it. So I'm just really grateful for our network and for all the growth and learning on the team.
Awesome. How?
Yeah, so for the past week, I've been playing with SQL just to build a model for tracking the program status and also figure out how to backfill existing data. So we sort of know everybody's status for everyone already started the program or like start a couple of times. Personally, I'm planning to go for a hiking, long time, like 4 hours hiking this weekend, probably tomorrow. And just enjoy the weather until it's get rainy here. My plan.
Cool. Enjoy that. I was hoping to go hiking, but we're going to have like hurricane stuff tomorrow, so that won't happen. John.
Yeah. Almost everything is going to be open here in Colombia starting next week. So we are really excited about that. No more strict quarantine, less restrictions. Most of the businesses are going to be open. Here at home, we are going to be cautious though, try to not get outside more than necessary in the next few weeks. But we will slowly get back to the activities we usually did before.
Awesome. Yeah, that's big. It's been a long time. Mike.
Yeah, so it's just pretty awesome to see how quickly things are moving and how much the company is evolving in such a short time period. And I don't know if it was with Casey when we were on the phone. I was saying just like it just continues to be amazing, like on a daily basis. The people that are interested and not only interested but actually using the product. Not going to name names, but even the people that have been mentioned, they are not like the most well-known or the most influential. So it's just really cool to be a part of it. And personally, I just continue to be really grateful for many things, but also just to be able to do amazing work with like an amazing team. And, it's just awesome to hear the excitement that people have, and I'm just grateful.
Very nice. Yeah, so on the personal front for me, I'm excited to planning a 2-week to 2-month road trip starting at the end of September with my girlfriend. We're kind of going to leave it open-ended and head west and then north and then see where we end up from there. Definitely going to be hitting some spots like Colorado and Idaho and Montana, and kind of similar to and inspired by Andrew and Cammie's trip recently, but looking for the next place to live. So excited about that. Got to put some planning details down. And then professionally, let's see. I was asked an interesting question prior to a pod, or maybe it was after one of the podcasts recorded this week. And it was, so aren't you guys trying to basically make yourselves, irrelevant? Like, isn't the goal of levels to replace, like solve metabolic health, and then you don't have a job anymore. You don't have a business anymore. And what was great is like, the answer is the exact opposite. In a world, because we're setting aspirational optimization goals, it's about constantly, no matter where you are on the metabolic health spectrum, you're moving closer and closer to optimal. That asymptote goes to infinity. So there will never be a world, even in the world where there is no type 2 diabetes, there's no chronic illness, no metabolic dysfunction. Every single person is just working on getting better every day. And it doesn't matter if you're an elite athlete or not, you have levels on your arm telling you how to do so. And that was just like, having that realization and talking through it was really big for me. And like, I know that, but it's nice to just reflect on it and realize that it's an aspirational company. Although we are here to change metabolic outcomes today, we're going well into the future with optimization as well. So exciting stuff. Tom.
All right, I'll go personal since I shared a few slides today. I've just had a ton of like social contact recently that I'm not used to given the last few months of quarantine, which has been amazing and exhausting. So I had, as most of you know, I had like 8 friends here with me last weekend. And then right after that, my best buddy who was traveling the world for a couple of years just got home a couple of days ago. So he came and visited me, and then saw cousins the following night and then another friend the following night. So every night was like 4-hour heart-to-hearts on the beach with people, which was wonderful. But I'm super excited for this weekend where I'm not going to talk to anyone. And then other than that, my oldest brother had his second baby, and it was really funny because my oldest brother is Robert Griffin III. Not that he's known by that. It's not like in his email sign off or anything, but he is in fact Robert Griffin III. And he had told everyone that the baby boy was not going to be Robert Griffin IV. And then when he like first met eyes with the baby, he changed his mind and said, we got to go with Robert Griffin IV. So he was partially nervous because he thought it was obnoxious to have a Robert Griffin IV. And I've already been calling the baby either RG4, 4, or Q for Quattro. And he and his wife are really annoyed because it's already sticking in the family.
Love it. That's awesome. Sam.
Yeah, so I think for the first time in Friday Forum history, I have a non-work related thing to share that I'm excited about. I'm back in Sacramento. I'm going to do a whole day rafting trip down the American River with my brother tomorrow, which would be great. I don't get a lot of like contiguous time with my brother. We catch up on the phone occasionally, but we don't get a lot of time together. So this would be really nice. And I'm taking all next week going basically off grid and doing a lot of writing, which I'm pretty excited about. So it's going to be a good week.
All right. Sam's going to go take vacation and write about level stuff. So, all right, Evan.
Yeah, I've been doing a bunch of stuff with dawn effect, trying to figure out like how we can detect it. And it's really interesting because dawn effect is one of the earliest signs of insulin resistance, because everybody's body starts releasing these hormones to raise glucose before you wake up. And it's only people who start to have insulin resistance that you can see the glucose go up because there's not enough insulin also being released. So I'm going to do a bunch of stuff probably this week to induce dawn effect and see how bad I can make it, just because it's really interesting.
Nice. Gabriel.
Yeah, so levels related, my first levels kit is scheduled to arrive tomorrow. So I'm obviously tremendously excited about that. Can't wait. And then personal, my wife has decided that she wants to buy a van to convert as like a winter project. I guess as an alternative to going to Mexico, we'll be like working in the van. I've seen some like van life references in channel, so maybe I can get in touch with some of you. You've done similar stuff, but yeah, hopefully by next spring we'll have like something like a livable van to go and do some road trips with. So that's exciting.
Fantastic project.
That's me.
Yeah, we're definitely going to need to do a Slack channel for van conversions. I've been thinking about this for a long time. All right. Thanks, everybody. We're on to the story of the day. We got about 4 minutes here. So Sam's going to rip through Writing Learn Phoenix.
Yeah, so some folks asked me to share my experience writing a 400-page technical book on a framework for Elixir and Erlang called Phoenix, which is built for highly concurrent distributed systems. So this is the book. The main reason why I did it was mostly as like a personal challenge. I've been working almost exclusively within the JavaScript ecosystem with some work in Python. Most of Sightline Maps was built in Python, but all of the web stuff, which was the majority of the work, was done in JavaScript. And so I wanted to really explore, it was really between Elixir and Rust were the two that I was thinking about. And I had a bunch of friends that really liked Elixir, so decided I would jump into it. The thing that I wanted to do it as a book because it forces you to be honest about what you actually know and what you don't know. For example, during the course of writing this, I realized that I actually had no idea what CORS was and that I was using it on everything, but I didn't actually know what it was. So it forces you to be like really rigorous about the tools that you're using and how they work at a deeper level. Also, I was doing a lot of consulting work, and having a book out, I thought would potentially allow me to charge higher consulting rates. Next slide. So the process was, I was in New York. I got a WeWork for 3 months. I basically just exclusively focused on this. So I don't think I was almost completely ignoring all emails and anything that was not focused time working on this. I wrote it in about 3 months in the WeWork. Read a few books. This one in particular was really interesting, Authority by Nathan Barry. And I hired some folks that were more knowledgeable about it than I was, that helped me think through the process for writing it, and wrote it all in Markdown, built a web app, and self-published it on learnphoenix.io. And next slide. The result is it actually also like specifically made me about $20,000. Yeah, apparently if you have a really niche technical book and somebody really wants to know how that works, they will pay a decent chunk of money for it. So that was kind of an interesting surprise. I didn't really do it for making revenue on it, but I knew that I wanted to charge for it. So that was cool. The other learning was that I charged a I made an option to be able to pay more for basically no additional value. Just pay for a whole year in advance, and you can just do that. And some meaningful percentage of people just pick that option. That was a tidbit of advice from my friend Dan Grossman, who's he's been an entrepreneur for 60 years and has built and sold several $multi-million companies. And he said, just always have an expensive option. That was his advice. So much to my surprise, some people just prefer the expensive option, even if it's not better. So that was interesting. I got a bunch of speaking engagements out of it, most of which I didn't accept, but that's something that we're seeing already at Levels, is that these flywheels happen very quickly. Once you have that first foot in the door, then you become the known entity, and then people start requesting that you speak at their conferences. Also, my consulting rates went up a lot, which was great. So I was making more money from that as well. I think there might be one more slide. Yeah, so the forums were a really good source of inbound. I just sort of posted about it on all the different Elixir and Erlang and Phoenix forums, and that sort of picked up steam. It started to organically get picked up as well. Google Ads worked super well for this, and I think it's because it was so specific. If you're looking for a book to learn a specific framework and you type in like Elixir framework tutorial book, like they're actively seeking to purchase exactly this product. So that worked really well. I ended up not, I think I supported the book for about a year, keeping things up to date, but it was, man, it was a pain. The packages fall out of date very quickly. One of the pieces of advice I got from my friend Alex, who had built a similar company for Ruby on Rails, he said, do not do video content. Everyone wants video, but don't do video because it is so hard to update and things fall out of date so quickly. And I guess when you're working in a code base, you don't think about how quickly and how often you have to update packages and how quickly things fall out of date because you're in it every day. But when you're only checking in like once a week or even once a month, it's amazing how quickly everything breaks when you're not actively working on it. So that was a huge pain. And the last was that when it comes to niche content, I think I charged something like $250 or $300 for the expensive version of the book, and people are willing to pay a meaningful premium for very specific, detailed niche content. So that was an interesting learning as well. I think that might be it.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, I know very little about this topic, so I won't be asking the questions here. So does anyone else have any questions for Sam?
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, please, John.
Okay, so just to be clear, you learned Elixir, then Phoenix, and then wrote a book in just 3 months?
Yeah, that's right.
That's crazy.
That was fun.
Sam, what was your process of getting feedback on the book and like having people review it for like, you know, technical veracity, but also for just like sheer editing?
Yeah, I had there are definitely typos in the book. I just kind of went with it and just did it very quickly. For the technical side, I had one of the reasons why I decided to go the route of Elixir instead of Rust is that I had more friends that knew Elixir. So I insisted on paying them at least some reasonable consulting rate to look things over and to make sure that it was valid. So I think in total, I probably spent in consulting rates probably $2,000 in just making sure that people who were credible and who understood it better than I did could review it.
Question. You mentioned an Alex who wrote a similar book of Ruby on Rails.
Yep.
Which Alex specifically?
Alex Yang.
Okay.
Sam, do you
All right,
have
any-
other, sorry, last one. Do you have other random projects or personal challenges that you would tackle if you had another like 3 to 6 months off in between jobs?
I have a whole list of them. Oh yeah, definitely.
What's another example?
I think one that I really want to get into is I have a whole stack of books on criminal justice reform that I've been meaning to read and to understand at a deeper level the incentive problems that are related to it. It seems like a lot of the problems in that space are tractable and that there aren't good reasons for why we're in the position that we're in now. So I'd probably want to spend 3 months talking to a lot of people who understand that space super well and probably do some writing on it as well. I wouldn't necessarily write it as a book, but it would probably be like some long form written content so that that information could scale.
Awesome. All right. Well, we ran over today. Sorry about that, everybody. We're constantly changing things here at the Levels Friday Forum, but appreciate everyone's contributions, tuning in. Have a great Friday. Have a great weekend. Talk to you soon.